More and more incidents are coming to light across Britain. Incidents where women and children are being directly targeted by those who should never have been allowed into this country in the first place. Families, ordinary mums and their kids, are being left exposed to predators who act without fear because the system seems more interested in protecting them than us. In this shocking clip, you'll see a beast brazenly targeting a terrified mother right on her own doorstep, with her children inside the home. A place that should be a sanctuary turned into a nightmare. And it doesn't end there. According to local reports, this isn't even the first time. Britain is waking up to a simple truth. We cannot allow this to continue. Mothers, children, families, they should be safe in their own homes and on their own streets. Yet time and again, those in charge fail to act, while ordinary people are forced to watch in horror as these incidents stack up. Watch the video for yourself and then ask, how many more will it take before Britain says enough is enough? Before we get into the footage, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Have a watch.
Okay, fine.
No, get in.
You okay?
Call Sheriff Police. What? Get in. Move. What are you doing? Don't even bother. Move. Don't get loose. I've got kids in here, don't.
Huh?
I've got kids.
You have to do?
I've got children in here. Can you go away, please? What the fuck are you doing? I've got cameras.
Good. Get it.
Hi.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Just give us two, just go close the door, there's two. Nothing to do with you, rather. There's nothing to do with you, rather.
In other news, Sarah Pochin has leapt to Nigel Farage's defense as she doubled down on his 2-week plan to stop the small boats. Speaking openly at the party's conference, the Reform UK MP declared that although the plan is radical, they cannot solve the problem of the migration crisis without it. Detailing his plans further, Mr. Farage has announced that, given the mood of the nation, the legislation needs to go through as quickly as it's possible. He added, it will take 2 weeks once we get the legislation in place. It will take 2 weeks to stop the boats. Quizzed by political correspondent Catherine Forster on the plans, Ms. Pochin said, I think what Nigel is meaning is that Reform is the only party that is saying it will leave the ECHR and it will repeal the Human Rights Bill. And with those two factors alone, we are then in a position to start to send all illegal asylum seekers, illegal migrants, back to where they came from. Criticizing the left-wing lawyers dealing with the appeal system for asylum seekers in Britain, the Reform MP added, what we have at the moment is a whole industry of left-wing lawyers making a fortune out of the endless appeal and appeal that a legal migrant can do, and what we need to do is take the legislation away. And it is a dramatic policy, it is a radical, extreme policy, but we have to do it. Stressing that the migrant crisis cannot be solved without such radical action by Reform, Ms. Polchin explained, "We will create a British Bill of Rights to replace the Human Rights Bill, but unless we take this radical action, then we cannot solve this problem." And the fact is, the Labour government have said very clearly they will never leave the ECHR. Kemi Badenoch said they will leave the ECHR. But I can tell you, Nadine Dorries has said from within the Conservative Party, there is no will to leave the ECHR. Otherwise, they would have done it. They had 14 years to do it. Deeming the legislation unfit for purpose, she stated, "It's not fit for purpose anymore, and we need to redo that sort of legislation because that's what's crippling and effectively bankrupting this country." Quizzed by Catherine on Mr. Farage's changing stance on whether women and children will also be deported from Britain if they enter illegally, Ms. Polchin said that the majority of illegal migrants are fighting-age men. Ms. Polchin said, "When it comes to women and girls being deported, we know that the fact is, out of the 70 to 80 people on these not small boats, we must stop calling the small boats the majority, 99% are young men. And you may get the odd woman and the odd child on that boat, and half the time I think it's just for the BBC to take a picture, but the fact is the overwhelming majority are young fighting men. That's what we need to deal with." Hailing the hard work of Reform UK and their policy making, Ms. Polchin concluded, "As a small party we are building, we have a team that is creating the infrastructure to meet the demand for reform. But we're growing so fast, and what we need to do now is get all of these policies in place. But it's happening and people are excited about it." A total of 890 arrests were made at the Palestine Action protest in central London yesterday. The Metropolitan Police confirmed the number, with 17 of those arrested on suspicion of assaulting police officers. Some 857 people were arrested under the Terrorism Act for showing support for a prescribed group. 33 were arrested for other offences. The force said those arrested were processed at a prisoner reception point in the Westminster area. Those whose details could be confirmed were released on bail to appear at a police station at a future date. Individuals who refused to provide their details or were found to have been arrested while already on bail were taken to custody suites. The Met's Counter-Terrorism Command will investigate the 857 people arrested under the Terrorism Act. An estimated 1,500 people took part in the protest, with the force condemning the intolerable abuse it says its officers suffered. Campaign group Defend Our Juries, DOJ, said the rally was the picture of peaceful protest. Deputy Assistant Commissioner Claire Smart, who led the policing operation, said, "I'd like to thank all officers involved in yesterday's operation for their professionalism and tireless work despite the level of abuse that they faced. The violence we encountered during the operation was coordinated and carried out by a group of people, many wearing masks to conceal their identity, intent on creating as much disorder as possible. Many of those individuals have now been arrested and we have begun securing charges. The contrast between this demonstration and the other protests we policed yesterday, including the Palestine Coalition March attended by around 20,000 people, was stark. You can express your support for a cause without committing an offense under the Terrorism Act or descending into violence and disorder, and many thousands of people do that in London every week. We have a duty to enforce the law without fear or favour. If you advertise that you are intending to commit a crime, we have no option but to respond accordingly." Palestine Action was banned as a terror organization in July after the organization claimed responsibility for damage to a pair of Voyager planes at RAF Bryce Norton on June 20th. New Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood said she will be just as tough as her predecessor, Yvette Cooper, on Palestine Action. Defense Secretary John Healey said that supporters of the organization would need to face consequences to avoid two-tier policing. Asked whether there would be a shift in government policy on the group, Mr. Healey said, "I expect Shabana Mahmood to be just as tough as Yvette Cooper, and I expect her to defend the decision the government's taken on Palestine Action because of what some of its members are responsible for and were planning." The Home Office plans to appeal a High Court ruling that permits Huda Amouri, co-founder of Palestine Action, to challenge the government's ban on the group. Ms. Amouri's legal action was prompted by the then Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper's, decision to classify the group as a terrorist organization under anti-terror laws. This classification made membership in or support for the Direct Action Group a criminal offense, punishable by up to 14 years in prison. Ms. Mahmoud has not yet commented on the arrest at the protest yesterday. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.